Mother, man.
Hey, bloke, you want to bury some bodies in my garden with me with Mayhem? Come on.
Spreading faster than a case of the clap in a trailer court. Able to shatter eardrums within a 666-mile radius. A podcast more brutal than all the rest. It's Murder Metal Mayhem! All right, what is up? It is Tuesday.
What's up?
That's right. We're throwing down a new Murder Metal Mayhem, and we're in Horns High Studios, or at least I am here for the Horns High Podcast Network, episode 217 going down tonight, guys. Chris, you're at McCormick Studios.
Yep.
In Bloomington. Joey is at 419 Studios in Toledo. So how is everybody doing? Chris, some storms coming through here, right?
Yeah, like they were talking about some bad weather, and like I didn't want to have to, well, people didn't want to do it, and other people, I'm just like, man, if it gets that bad, I'm not going to have to make you drive all the way through that storm to a different town to come pick me up and shit.
Right.
Like, because it's talking about like 2-inch hail and shit. Like, I'm stuck in that shit.
Yeah, there was like baseball size hail in the Quad Cities today. So yeah, it's pretty pretty nuts. Yeah. So very cool. And then Joey, how are you over there in the 419?
Doing better than baseball size hail, I'll tell you that. Pretty awesome.
Right.
Yeah, I heard baseball season started, but not in my backyard in fucking ice fucking balls, you know.
God damn, fucking
that. Craziness. Yeah. So been a lot of wild weather here. We're going to talk about that in the metal segment. Some unfortunate things that was going on. So, all right. Well, what shirts we got happening tonight, guys? Chris, what do you got happening there in McCormick Studios? Oh, nice.
Ted Bundy shirt.
Your Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy shirt.
And you got your Chicago Bears backdrop there. So
yeah, dude.
Right.
I just had to throw something. I had to throw something back there because it's daylight out longer now. So like the sun was shining in wrong. It's like, yeah, I'll do some white trash shit. Just throw a throw blanket over the window.
There you go. There you go. And then Joey, what about you? What are you doing?
I got the Murder Machine clothing hoodie on today. And I got this badass new stocking cap from Beneath the Killings. I got that at their show last night, their debut show.
Hell
with
yeah.
Suffocation, which I'll talk a little bit about that in metal too. But yeah, Between the Killings, Indiana represent.
Hell yeah, very cool. Okay. And I got this brand new Cataclysm shirt.
Oh yeah,
I got it on Indie Merch. Check this out. CK would be so proud, and CCK, of course, there looking behind the chair. But I ordered this shirt, and then I got a thing, you know, your order was in, you know, and then your order's been shipped. You know, their Indie Merch is great. And so the shirt was shipped pretty quick, you know, 2 or 3 days, boom, they're shipping it out. I get it, you know, boom. Well, the day after they shipped it, I got another email saying my order shipped. So I'm like, what's up with that? Like, did something happen? You know, so I'm looking at the tracking numbers, they're different. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. And I'm tracking them both, and they're both like a day behind each other as they make their way to Hayworth. And then I get the one shirt and I got another shirt. So I've never had that happen. I've ordered a ton of shirts, but I got 2 for the price of 1. So thanks, Indie Merch. But, you know, as much as I've bought from you and plugged the living shit out of Indie Merch, I think it's okay.
A free shirt's worth it.
Hey, they gave me a free Cataclysm shirt, so I got 2 of these.
You didn't check your account to make sure you didn't get charged twice.
No,
right?
I did. I believe me.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that was the first thing I checked. Like, did I fuck up and order that twice? So yeah, that's funny. Right. So all right, well, very good, very good. Crazy today though, you know, with all the weather and everything, but you know, getting up into almost hitting 80 today. So
yeah, it was nice.
It's nice having the warmer weather, but we could all do without all those crazy storms and, you know, tornadoes and shit. Now last week, guys, we did a good one on the brutal Pike County massacre, the slaughter of 8 innocent people from a single family spread out over 4 locations. I mean, that was just nuts.
Plan the fuck out. Plan out.
That was back in 2016. And we did that case last week. And guys, it shows we have our number one city listening right now is Columbus, Ohio. So I'm wondering if we got a lot of people, you know, that's not too far from this. I think it's the biggest city close to where this happened. So that's awesome. So thanks to the listeners in that area. If that's why you checked it out, hopefully you keep listening. But we got into the details with that one. Murder spree by one family over another, over a child custody issue. It was pretty ugly, to say the least. And then, Chris, you had the horns for the metal segment, and what did you do?
Fuck yeah, fucking county medical examiners, man.
Yeah, that was
just some
cool.
old-ass doctors getting her done.
You got to love that. I mean, legitimate county medical examiners doing death metal, man. It's pretty crazy.
I fucking love it.
And we had a good killer cage match, as always, and the usual, you know, fucked upness that we put forth every week. We were passing 800 to that one today, so thanks to those that listened. And if you did miss it, go check out episode 216. We also put out a bonus for you guys on Friday. We've been spoiling them, guys, with this bonus stuff, but, you know, another interview, this one with Pepe from the Danish thrash band Hatesphere. Definitely a fun conversation, super cool guy. Hear him talk about farting in bands. I mean, just fucking crack me up with that.
Pepe Le Pew, man.
Yeah, Pepe Le Pew, exactly. That's where the nickname came from. So those guys are on tour this week, I think it starts. So very cool. Horns up to them. And we were passing 400 listens to that today. And so that was a bonus episode if you missed it last week. And then a video of that, of me and Pepe doing the interview, is on our YouTube channel. We got plenty of these band interviews on there and other stuff. So it's well worth going and subscribing to that. But tonight, guys, we're going to be doing a feature on the disturbing case of old John Reginald Christie. Going old school with this one, from 1943 to 1953 at 10 Rillington Place in London, which is a very infamous address, as you guys will soon find out if you don't know who the hell John Reginald Christie is. But he had 8 known victims, including an infant and even his own wife. Definitely one creepy-looking motherfucker.
Creepy is an understatement with what this dude looked like.
Isn't it? Like, I can't believe anybody went with this dude anywhere. Like, he just looked like just a creepy, psychotic motherfucker. And we're going to get into that in the murder segment. And we're going to have our friend Jeff Ignatowski from Killers the Card Game. He's raring and ready to go, warming up in the bullpen to be guest co-host with us tonight for this one. So that should be a lot of fun. And Joey, you got the horns tonight, and I think you picked a really good one to do, man. What's the plan?
I'm doing a newer band. They're out of Texas, and they're called Stabbing.
Hell yeah.
They're pretty much on fire right now, so if you're into like underground death metal and shit, you probably heard of them.
Oh yeah.
But if not, you're definitely gonna be able to check it out. And I even did a little interview with a mini interview with the bassist. You'll be able to hear that tonight on the episode, and then we'll also do that as a standalone segment for our YouTube. Yeah,
Joey, you did such a good job with that. I'm anxious to play that later, and like you said, we'll do a YouTube video on that as well. And so that'll be in our metal segment. And Chris, you got a lost classic for us tonight?
I got something tacked away somewhere in the closet.
Well, that's good. That's good. And I got a couple things to put out in the metal segment as well. So looking forward to that. And of course, guys,
I think we all got one thing.
What's that?
Oh, in the metal segment?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we all got something to talk about in there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Killer cage match. That's where we get a list of 75 killers, 75 objects for them to fight with, a variable in the cage, and a song playing while they fight. And Chris, we got some listeners we want to say thank you to that help us pick the numbers.
Yes, we do. Tonight we have our homie Justin Morris, We got the homie Colin Rogers and Ray Daddy McFalls once again
Hell
throwing
yeah.
down the numbers for us.
Hell
Thanks,
yeah.
y'all.
Those are 3 common names. I know Colin through work, but super cool guy. Been listening for a while. Of course, we know Ray McFalls, the man of 1,000 nicknames. And of course, Justin Morris, the guy who's been in Horns High doing episodes with us. So that's super cool.
Okay.
And we got a good beat down tonight, Joey. What's the matchup up that's going to be coming up here?
Tonight we've got from Texas, Dean Coral, the Candyman.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to be going up against the fucking chessboard killer who is one of our Black Dolphin denizens.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be a brutal one, 2 brutal dudes.
Yeah, wasn't he like bashing people with vodka bottles, if I remember right? It was something crazy like that in the park.
It's been a while since we talked about it.
It has been. So yeah, well, that'll be a good one. And Chris, you know the objects always make this fun.
They are, yeah. Objects make them fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And
So
the variables.
Yeah, the objects, the variables, and the songs. So we're going to do all of that in the Mayhem segment, so you don't want to miss that. And then, guys, how about our sponsor this month, Killers the Card Game? We mentioned Jeff earlier, but such a cool game. We've all 3 played it. And Joey, you were in the 419 playing. You liked it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and Chris and I were here with our significant others playing it in the studio. That's on the YouTube channel if you want to go check that out. But it's a great game. I mean, where can you go wrong with a serial killer role-playing game for a true crime fan? I mean, it's a must. And
I mean, just don't be on the list of serial killers and you're not doing bad.
That's right. It's a great game. It's well thought out. It's very original. So we've talked about it before, and so we appreciate them sponsoring this episode. But in the episode description, I'll link to it so you can click and order the game. They got these really cool expansion packs. Very original idea. Just Jeff is just a very, very smart guy. So I think you'll dig it.
Fucking, like I said, it's a great fucking game, man.
Yeah,
we'll talk to him about it.
Yeah, we're going to bring it up. He's got some news, too, to put out. Big thanks to everybody out there listening to the podcast. We keep on seeing the numbers. And, guys, we're up 1,000 this week. We're at 3,940 total listens. So thank you very much. And it's crazy, but currently, when I checked it today, Chicago is not on the list. We've got a dogfight of cities that are ahead of Chicago right now. Columbus, Ohio, and Santiago, Chile are tied for number 1. And then I don't know how, but Doha, Qatar, that's a Middle Eastern country. It's in the Middle East, is tied is tied for second with Dallas, Texas, Brisbane, Queensland, and Australia, and Dublin, Ireland. I mean, fucking crazy. So thank you guys. That just blows my fucking mind. So very, very cool. And the big jump in the numbers, I don't know if it was because of the Pike County case, but that episode didn't get a ton of listens. So it's always hard to predict why the numbers jump like that and spike up. But thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. And our website, murdermetalmayhem.com, that's where you can go pick up some merch. You can read a bio about why we do what we do. And we got the CK tribute page on there. And so it's good website. Go check that out. Okay. And guys, as always, we got a lot on our plate tonight. We're going to be taking a trip across the pond once again and try to avoid breathing in some natural gas and ending up in Christie's garden. So let's get Jeff on the phone. And Chris, what the fuck we need to do?
Let's do some fucking basement style abortions.
I told you before, and I'll tell you again. I'm the last one you'll see before you die. I came from the gutter just to see you suffer. Don't say a word, don't even breathe. All the bullshit you spill, all the lies you feed, decide to kill.
fuck yeah. Some Cataclysm in the song Outsider. I've been jamming the shit out of those guys. So badass. And they're currently on tour in Europe. So go check those guys out if you're over there. So great live band.
Never seen them.
They're really good. Now, Jeff Ignatowski's with us, and he's the mastermind behind Killers, the card game, and he's got quite the view there from this side, looking at his display. It's good to see you, Jeff.
Yeah, I got all kinds of extra bits with me.
Fucking hell, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so yeah, we're all doing this remotely. So this is definitely a first with 4 different people all going remote on Murder Metal Mayhem. I think so. I don't know if you guys can remember a time when we had this situation. So
I don't know. I'm not offhand, but
yeah. So it's
done a lot.
It's fun, and we're gonna have a good one tonight. We're talking about an older case, going back to England for this one, and old John Reginald Christie, the creepiest looking son of a bitch, who murdered at least 8, including his own wife and the infant child of his neighbor. I mean, a fucked up situation. 1943 to 1953 in Notting Hill, and the neighborhood of London, very English sounding with the names. And then 10 Rillington Place also sounds very English to me. All of this is just like the perfect, like scripted, creepy story. This is a twisted one, though. You got murder, necrophilia, and then, guys, I think this is a pubic hair collection. I don't know if you guys are aware of any other serial killer that kept, Jeff, are you aware of another?
No, not that kept pubic hair. Shit.
No, that's pretty fucked up. And I didn't know that about this dude. And I'm like, what the fuck? So this is going to be a good one. This is going to be
You can't tell me none of them fucking vaginas in fucking Gein's box didn't have pubic hair on them.
Well, yeah, but he had the whole vagina, though.
Right.
So, Jeff, how popular do you think Christie is with the true crime fans out there?
I'll tell you, man. I've been doing this a while, and I know about him because of the card game and because of putting him in there. But man, there are a lot of true crime fans that don't know who old Reg Christie is. But I've got a lot of friends that I've got a lady up in Scotland who is kind of my contact there. So when I do a bunch of stuff, like we're getting ready to do a thing on Dennis Nielsen, and she's going to be my contact. She knows all about this shit, which is awesome.
Oh, hell yeah. Very cool. Well, Dublin, Ireland is in our top 10 cities listening, so not too terribly far from her. All right, well, very cool. And Chris, I mean, we've done plenty of cases where killers like to bury shit on their property. What do you think is the reason for that?
Dude, I think a lot of times it's because they want to keep them close. That way they know where they are and they can possibly revisit them. Other times, like, what was his name? They're just lazy. They just throw the body in the bedroom under a mattress and be like, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'll throw another one in there tomorrow.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of times I think it's mostly because they just want to keep them close and be able to, like, I guess somehow revisit.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. We've done some recently that we're doing that kind of thing. So it's always interesting what they do with the bodies after they're done. And that's what makes a lot of these stories so fascinating, I think. And Joey, I mean, Christie's another one of those murderers that starts off small and kind of works his way up until he eventually gets to murder. But what do you think makes a guy go over the edge like that?
To commit a murder probably takes, a very substantial event in that day of the person or very long planning in their mind of that said person. So there's a few different things, but I would almost say that almost anybody that became a murderer, at least a significant one, probably has some kind of petty criminal, at least background. Maybe not that they were caught for or whatever, but a lot of them had, arson fascinations or the animal thing or whatever it was. Even if they didn't get caught and have a technical criminal record, I would say that almost every person that we talk about on here probably has something that was going wrong in their life coming up. And when you
Right.
think about the escalation of it, if you got somebody that's already on the path that's into criminal activity and all they're doing is associating with other people that are into criminal activity too, they're learning more about what they could do, where they can hit a lick like this or whatever it is. So it's kind of a progression in the criminal world too.
Right, right. Yeah, I think those are all valid points. It's just it's interesting to see how somebody could, just stay a petty criminal and then others just keep kind of going up the ladder until they're eventually killing. I think, like you said, some kind of radical event in their life is often the case, right? Now, his family called him Reg. That was his middle name, Reginald, but that's what he went by. But the true crime
wait till he gets new nicknames.
Yeah, right. The true crime fans won't find stuff on Reginald Christie probably as easy as they would John Christie. So if you're interested in this guy and want to do some Google searches, John Christie will get you there. But you're going to hear the commercial we did, very, out in total poor taste, always murder, metal, mayhem style, guys, with
That's
the
the best.
Christie abortion clinic. It's fucking awful, and we'll play that for you later, but that was pre-done. We always do those ahead, and we saw this one coming up, and I was trying to think of something to do, and I was going to have it be like a funeral parlor because that's the kind of vibe he gives me. But then I thought about the abortion clinic, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely nasty. Got to do it. So, all right. So John Reginald Holiday Christie, got two middle names, born in 1899 in Yorkshire, England. He's the sixth of seven kids, and that's almost a baseball team. So he's definitely big family. He had a bad relationship with his dad, who was a pretty difficult guy. Would punish the kids for even the most trivial small things. And his mom, though, she coddled him and bullied him at the same time. I was a little confused. And same with his older sisters. They coddled and bullied him. So I'm not sure what the deal was with that. But, when you got bullying, we talk about that a lot. Some of these kids become introverted because of that. And then that leads to some other issues because we see that all the time with these guys that become loners, and then, that eventually erupts. But Jeff, when his grandfather died in the house, how much of an impact do you think that had on young John? Because he saw the body, didn't he?
Yeah. So, being able to see somebody like that, of course, his family was very, very strict. And, it seems like they had pretty traditional roles where the father or male was the authority figure and kind of doled out that authority on everybody.
Right.
So, with that, seeing somebody that you believed or that you were afraid of because they might whoop your ass, can really give you, a strange sense. And it says that he, felt joy in that. Like he was excited that he got to be powerful over this guy, right?
Isn't that weird?
So, so he must have felt so belittled by him. And, it's just the same thing. I fought professionally, right? When you beat the hell out of somebody, there is this immense feeling of power.
Oh, yeah, dude, for real.
Controlling and being able to best another human being.
Right.
And watching that, obviously there's something wrong going on upstairs.
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Definitely an interesting reaction to seeing your grandfather's body, right? Now, John Christie did well in school, got a scholarship to the Halifax Academy. He did good in math and algebra, did very well in history and woodworking, had an IQ of 128. So it's not genius level, but definitely a smart guy.
It's very high,
Yeah, I looked it up, and that's technically superior. Only 2 points shy of gifted / very advanced. So very smart dude. And Chris, I read that Christie was a Boy Scout and sang in the church choir, and that reminded me so much of you and your two brothers.
I mean, I could see that when we were kids or whatever. I mean, we did go to church and we did not dumb shit, but we did shit, singing in the church choir and fucking going on what was it, Bible school camps in the summer and shit. So yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
Now look at it. At least we're not murdering people, bro. Fuck.
Right, right. Well, you're always saying "Hail Satan," so I just thought that was kind of funny. It's kind of funny to think about you going to, singing in the church choir. So, Joey, after his arrest, his friends would have some interesting ways to describe him. What were they saying about him?
I mean, he was basically fucking, a weirdo. They called him a queer lad.
Right.
They were saying that he basically kept to himself. It's a lot of the same stuff that you hear about, the active shooters nowadays. They seem to align with the same kind of things. But as we're going to talk about with Christie, though, I mean, this is kind of the least of the things that they can be saying about him, because he's about to get heckled a little bit more about some shit that I think has a lot more of an effect on him. But
yeah, because we have talked about this before.
Shit about get brought up, dude. Like these days, motherfuckers will be going to school shooting motherfuckers up.
Yes.
This day.
Yeah, this is some harsh shit. We know kids are awful to each other, but this is a perfect example of that, because we talked about this with Chikatilo and other serial killers we've discussed. He had a problem with impotence at a young age, and how kids are so fucking cruel, but they were calling him Reggie No Dick and Can't Do It Christie. I mean, that's fucking harsh. I mean, I couldn't even imagine being a teenager and going through that. I mean, that's fucked up at any age, but as a teenager with all your friends, I mean, most kids are so intimidated and is fragile at that age. Like something like that would fuck you up. I mean, seriously. Do you guys agree with that?
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure it fueled a lot of the later things to come.
I would think so. So, Jeff, it's no wonder that a guy getting treated like this is going to start fucking murdering people. I mean, this is like kind of like the match that started the fucking fire, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure. You just look at we're talking about a serial killer, but you look at normal people, right? When mom or dad tells you that you're no fucking good, right? Or, mom is telling you you need to lose weight and you're too fat. People carry that shit around with them for the rest of their lives. It never ends, right? You deal with that when you're 12 years old all the way until you're 80 years old, right?
It's a good point, dude.
It is. When we are super impressionable when we're younger, those things that are told to us will fuck you up for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. That really is. I mean, that's awful shit to do. And, especially when you're talking about his anger towards females, Now, Chris, do you think that the issues with women had to do with the fact his mother and older sisters were doing that whole coddling / bullying thing? I mean, do you think that played into this too?
I mean, I don't know about that, but I know that, like, if you're just like a teenager and you're fucking first time you're getting laid, you're nervous. Maybe your dick ain't gonna work. Next thing you know, she's telling people, "Oh, he can't fuck or whatever."
Right.
Next thing you know, you're hearing that back. Fuck. I mean, between that and everything that happened to school, everything that happened with his mom and his sister, I think it turned him into an incel, and that's the only way he could fucking actually was going and doing the murders and shit.
Yeah.
Like that was before incel was a thing.
Right. No, that's a good point, man. Dude, it's a really good point. I found it interesting that his issue with impotence would last his entire lifetime, and he was only able, though, to perform with prostitutes. And during the autopsy, the medical examiner said that his genitals were in perfect working order. And so I'm assuming
Oh,
that
I
it was
hope they
all
were
mental.
female doctors.
What's that?
I hope they were female doctors, man.
Yeah, I hope so too. But yeah, I mean, I'm thinking it was all mental with him, because if he was able to do it with a prostitute, then obviously physically he could do it. It was just, all mental with him for sure.
Also, what I was gonna say about the thing with his mother and sisters and shit,
Yeah.
like he was getting bullied. I feel like the whole sex thing with his wife or whatever was just like, oh wait, now I have to actually communicate with this person on a different level.
Yeah.
Like as the prostitutes, he could just like bang him and bounce. Don't got to do nothing else. Just throw you some money. I'm not gonna see you again.
Right. Yeah.
So I wonder with that, we talk about him feeling powerful over his grandfather's death, right?
Right.
And now you're talking about he can't perform with normal people because he can't have consensual sex. He needs to have that power and that control
There you
over
go.
the subject. And so, he's fucking all these prostitutes because he can control them. I'm willing to bet that he did a lot of tying up and gagging and all that shit when he was paying those prostitutes.
Bondage and shit. Yes.
Probably right, dude. Probably right. Probably listening to Murder Metal Mayhem too. I mean, just
prostitutes will definitely act like they're dead if you pay them. So.
Oh, I'm sure.
Exactly.
So
They
it's
probably prefer it that way.
right. It's December 1916, and the First World War is happening. Christie enlists in the British Army as an infantryman, but ends up working with radios as a signalman. He was injured in a mustard gas attack and claimed he was blind and mute for 3.5 years. And this, he said, would affect his speech permanently, where he can only speak very softly, which just adds to the creep factor. And there is, some debate about that. I mean, whether that was true, his records don't really show it. But, that would have been a time where record keeping wasn't, the first thing people thought about, not anything like today.
Getting it for attention, doing it for attention, basically, too. Is
right.
3.5 years is a long ass time to do
long
something.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, it seems excessive. I agree. And that's why I think, people are just not really sure about this dude. Now, Joey, I wonder if that mustard gas attack was what gave him the idea about using gas himself. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'm sure it didn't fucking deter him from doing it. That's for sure.
Right.
Regardless of what the truth to the claim about, his effects of being, from the gas, he was obviously dealing with it and had it in his mind for 3.5 years.
Right.
So, yeah, the possibility that was something that fucking held on him so heavily that he wanted to inflict that on other people, I could see that.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, I think especially at that time, gas attacks were like, very, very scary. I mean, it's scary anytime, but that was a time that fucking people were doing this shit and it was awful. And you dying like that is fucking horrible. I remember when I was in the Army, which would have been the early 90s, they were looking for volunteers to be part of some sort of study with gas attacks. And I remember hearing about that, like, fuck all of that. Like, I don't even remember what the incentive is, because it's not like they're going to pay you extra or something to do it, but I was maybe gave you some extra leave or something like that. But nonetheless, I'm glad I did not become part of that. I'm already fucked up anymore. I don't think I could tolerate it. The only gas that I was ever exposed to in the Army was the CS gas, the tear gas, basically. Pretty nasty, but tear gas.
I can bring over some ammonia and some bleach, and we can make some mustard gas and try it out, bro.
Yeah, right. We get Michael. Let's get Michael, your brother, put him in a small room, and we'll do some tests and see what happens.
Talking about people being, the fear of the gases and stuff back then. 1940s, that was Mad Gas or Mattoon.
Dude, I was just gonna say Mad Gas reference. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a good one. And
so gassing was a legitimate fear.
Yeah. And Joey, I meant to tell you too, the guy coming up on our list, Siebert, he was born in Mattoon. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was dying when I heard it. Yeah. Like, oh, meth tune. Yeah. Hell yeah. So, Jeff, we see from looking at serial killers that there's usually some signs in their past, and we've already started talking about it with this dude, right? With the whole power thing with him. And I mean, there's lots of them you could name about serial killers that, you could use as an example. I'm not sure if anybody has any ideas, but Jeff, what do you think?
God. Dude, there's so many serial killers. You look in their past, you look at Dahmer, right? Dahmer and all the taxidermy and stuff that he learned from dad. You look at, Chikatilo, you mentioned him already, another one that had a crazy past that ended up causing who he was later on. And as you're looking at this with Christie, you see behaviors that he's starting to have, the whole mute deaf thing, right? And now where he's talking really softly, what that does psychologically, like we talk about it all the time when you're arguing with somebody, right? And so as a person, you lower your voice tone so that they have to strain to hear you. And it brings all of the stress level down in the conversation. Okay. So, I wonder if some of that, obviously he started out that way because he wanted to, get attention or something. But I think maybe during that, he figured out, that he could disarm people by doing that and start getting what he wanted because they had to listen real close to hearing.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, this guy's definitely very complex. Lot going on here, kind of setting the table for the crazy shit that's about getting ready to happen here. Psychologists would say that all this exaggeration of his ailments was part of that personality disorder that he had. And they would say he did it for the sympathy, as we've been saying, a little bit of the hypochondria. He leaves the Army in 1919 and was in the Air Force from 1923 and 24. But then he went on to get a job, and would leave it, get another job, kind of bouncing around, wasn't able to stay anywhere very long. And he married Ethel somehow. Some woman wanted to marry this fucking guy.
Hey, why are you talking shit about my mom, bro?
I know. When I saw Ethel, I'm like, oh, shit. Chris's mom. But he marries her in 1920, but that's not going to go very well. He's in and out of prison. That would kind of put a damper on the marriage. And various small-time offenses like stealing and white-collar crimes at first. But then there's an incident with him hitting a woman in the head with a cricket bat, which would fucking hurt. And he did some hard labor for that, I saw, which is
like the original. It's like the beginning of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie when fucking what's his name comes out and hits Raphael in the head with the bat and throws him in the garbage can. Fuck yeah.
So Ethel winds up leaving his ass, moves to Sheffield with her family, and this guy's just in and out of prison. But then, like magic, 1934, he moves to London and convinces her to join him at the infamous 10 Rillington Place in a ground floor apartment. And I mean, this place is an absolute shithole. When I saw pictures, really nasty, right? I mean, grimy and just dilapidated. I mean, just terrible. Everything I saw about it looked bad. They even mentioned, really, really tough neighborhood. There were railroad tracks so close that they said when the train went by, it was deafening. So that's got to suck like all day long, hearing trains coming through. But Chris, he gets a thing for prostitutes. And he's even doing this while he's married. So this guy had a thing for them. I mean, definitely was able to, like we've been saying, control them, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, very controlling. And also, like, how many fucking serial killers or murderers, whatever, out there had fucking a wife at home or whatever, and they're just still out there roaming the streets looking for fucking hookers and shit. Just, fuck it. I don't care. I want somebody to kill anyway. Might as well get my nuts off and slit a throat or choke them out or whatever.
Yeah, and like we say all the time, I mean, the prostitute is like the perfect victim. You know, the most vulnerable of vulnerable, they get in strangers' cars. I mean, once you're in the vehicle, I mean, we talk about that all the time with these fucking rape vans and like Kemper where you couldn't get out once you got in from that side. And there's some devious shit. I mean, once you're in the car, I mean, that's it, you know, so definitely the odds are not in your favor at that point. So pretty fucked up. But Joey just cannot hold down a job, but he comes up with this little side hustle here. I mean, this sounds like something straight out of the 419, like something I could see going on somewhere in your neck of the woods. What does he start doing to get a little side cash?
What he wants to do is he wants to start helping the women that are around there. And
that's what he wants to do.
Some of them become pregnant, you know, unwillingly or out of wedlock, or maybe they're prostitutes and they get pregnant, and that'll fuck up their whole fucking deal. So he's like, okay, well, I can perform abortions.
Yeah.
And he was like, I got some kind of know-how about some gas that I can use to
well, he had like a medical book in his bedroom, and he's like, here, look at this book. Like, really, dude? You could have got that at
he's
the
a
fucking
professor because he read that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucked up.
That's some real shit, though. That we think about this. He is even because he used her along with the image of, oh, this is the house mother or whatever, and she'll help along with this. So then the women feel a little bit safer because it's this guy who supposedly has this medical knowledge and this woman who's going to be there to take care of them.
Right.
So they feel a little bit safer about going to him for this. And man, I don't know what he was charging them. I never saw anything about that.
I didn't either. Pretty fucked up.
Pretty good deal on an abortion.
I think you get an abortion and a grilled cheese, and maybe a sweet tea for quite a, $5 or something like that. I don't know.
Man, you get that abortion. You already got the tomato soup to go with that grilled cheese.
Damn. Oh, Jesus. Had to go there. Now,
I think, and also I was just going to add, back then, abortion was illegal. So these women couldn't have done this without getting in trouble. So he was offering them a way to get out of it without getting in trouble.
And they thought it was safer because he had some kind of medical knowledge, a little sketchy, but he talked a good game. He read a book or two. So that's all you need to do. But Jeff, he joins the War Reserve Police, and I would love to know what kind of background check they were doing to take this guy on. I mean, seriously? I mean, I know it's pre-internet, but still, it just seems like a few phone calls wouldn't have maybe saved them some grief with this guy,
Yeah, like calling the ladies in town and finding out that he's doing abortions at his house.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, just fucked up. I mean, just really fucked up.
That shit reminds me of H.H. Holmes. Now, H.H. Holmes actually had a degree, right? He was actually a doctor.
Right.
But he was bullshitting his way through everything else.
Yes.
Like everything he bullshitted his way through.
Oh, yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, he's in this uniform. So now we were going back to that whole power trip thing. He's got a uniform, feels authoritative, he looks, like he's somebody type of thing. And he winds up getting involved though with some woman whose husband was in the war, wasn't that, Jeff?
Yeah. So he gets involved with her. Yeah. And they have an affair.
Right.
And the husband comes back and beats his ass.
Bad, yeah.
Yeah. So and we talk about this a lot too, right? We talk about head trauma and the effect that has. And I know you mentioned it earlier that there's an event that often happens that changes things, right? And I think you kind of see that here. That husband beat his ass, and all of a sudden now, like maybe he damaged some shit up there, and now he doesn't have the impulse control that he once had. And all of the fantasies that he had beforehand, he can't stop himself from doing now.
Yeah, it's
That
very
makes a lot of
possible. It's very possible you just needed to knock one more rivet loose in that head before he just, like you said, had no more control and just letting it go. So that's a very, very valid point for sure. So now the murdering starts. So here we go. 1943 meets a 21-year-old woman from Austria who was working in London, and apparently she was also a part-time prostitute. So to me,
Gotta
that's
make that
not a
money,
part-time
son.
kind of job. But
I mean, if you only do fucking 1 or 2 Johns a day, that's part-time, bro.
Like I only fuck between 4 and 5 p.m. That's it.
right,
That's it.
exactly,
That's it.
exactly. That's all you got. He invited her to his apartment at 10 Rillington Place while his wife's gone visiting some relatives. They ended up in bed. And again, I'm just, as sketchy as this place looked, as creepy as Christie was, I'm just amazed. But I guess, you know, if he's going to give her some money, I guess she's going to do what she's going to do. They end up in bed. He strangles her with a piece of rope, and he put the body under the floorboards and then eventually moved it out to the backyard, or as the English would say, the garden. So
The garden.
that's right. Now, Chris, a few months later, 1944, he meets somebody else. What happens with this lady?
He meets this lady. She's got bronchitis real bad, and so he's like, he's pretending he's a doctor, basically. We already know this.
Right.
And so, like, fucking, he says he's got a special medicine that he's made that cleared his bronchitis out, all cool and everything. And it's a gas that he kind of basically just like takes a mason jar, puts a couple holes in the lid, runs one hose in here, one hose in the other side, and fucking gets him to start breathing through it. And then he opens up the fucking carbon monoxide valve, and that starts filling the jar up, and like bubbles and shit because it's coming in. He just like holding the mask to their face, just breathe deep, and like just like fucking fucks this chick up. And so like she goes unconscious. So he proceeds to rape her, choke her out, rape her with her own stockings, and then bury her out in his quote garden.
His garden, yeah.
Like he fucking just said, fuck it, I'm going flat on this one.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal for sure. And one thing to point out, though, that at that time in London, the gas they used for their stoves and heating was coal gas, which has a higher carbon monoxide amount in it at 15%. So this was some pretty lethal shit, worse than, you know, what we would see here currently in the U.S.
Right.
Now, Joey,
Gas and shit.
yeah. Now, Joey, the whole situation with Timothy Evans in 1948 is really fucked up, what he does to this guy. What was the deal with that, man?
Out of all of Christie's victims, this one's probably the worst case. Timothy Evans, he has a wife, Beryl, and they end up getting pregnant, but he's on disability. He can't read or write, Timothy, and so he's just having trouble financially. Ain't got no fucking money for this kid or anything. So, you know,
and he's got a fucking violent tendencies as well.
Yeah, he does as well. Yes. So they're like,
right.
Well, they strike it up with Christie that they can stay at 10 Rillington Place. So now they're going to move into this house.
Right. Second floor, I think.
Second floor, right. And then Christie's telling him, he's like, well, if you get pregnant again, I can do the abortion,
right.
because that's he's an expert at abortion.
Yeah, I've got this Reader's Digest condensed medical book here. I can easily take care of that for you, lady.
But he ends up killing Beryl with the gas. She ends up dying from it.
Right.
They take the baby, strangle the baby, places them in the goddamn house. He's basically got like a Gacy shit going on, or Telltale Heart combined.
Right. Yeah, because he puts them in like the laundry. There was like a little outbuilding where they did their laundry.
Right.
And he stashes them in there. So yeah, he's just like haphazardly throwing them around, garden, floorboards, the wash house, like whatever. I mean, this guy is starting to get sloppy, you know, because that's how these guys get caught. They get sloppy. They don't have a good system down yet for how to get rid of them.
But before he's too sloppy, though, he does have it in him to get. I didn't see how this all went down, but the husband Tim ends up getting convicted for the murder of his wife.
Right.
And he ends up going to prison and getting put to death.
Yeah. Christie testifies against him.
Exactly. Christie
says he's heard him fighting with his wife and this and that. And it's like, and he's simple, you know, he's got some mental disabilities. So this is awful. I mean, picking on this poor guy. Yeah. I mean, really bad situation. Like you said, Joey, I think this is the worst of them.
When you talk about John Christie's, his statistics, I guess you'll say, or his body count, I think you got to add Tim to that.
Yeah, I would.
Somebody that was killed because of him. Because
I would agree. Really, you know? Yeah, because back then, when you were guilty, like they took you to be hanged. I mean, like there was no appeal. Like you were like literally led from the courtroom to the gallows and hung. I mean, it was that quick. So pretty scary shit. That movie 10 Rillington, or that docuseries I watched, it was fantastic. I'll mention that later, but they do that whole scene really well in there with that trial and how that all went down. It really, really well done if you guys haven't watched it yet. And you listeners that are liking what you're hearing and interested in this case, I'll mention that where you can find that. But, he's stashing bodies everywhere, and, he gets roped into it, and, they convict him and hang him in 1950. So just absolutely awful. All the time this shit is going on, John Christie is moving from job to job, but after the trial and all his criminal shit came out, because when he testified, of course, the cross-examination is going to bring up his, history, his arrest record and prison time. So everybody now knows about that. So he couldn't hide it anymore. And he's fired for the last time in 1950. But he's lucky he got out of that murder charge with the Tim Evans situation. And he could have just stopped and fucking got his shit straight. But of course he can't. And, this guy, is just maybe he got cockier that he was able to get away with it, especially with the way he was always on a power trip. Maybe that was, part of this.
Dude, did you see it? Did you see that after Evans got the fucking death sentence and shit, how Chrissy started crying in the courtroom?
Yes.
Basically just like, oh, fuck. That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, he was putting on the waterworks for sure. And the justice system would get a lot of shit for this, situation. Officially, he was pardoned, but technically still guilty. Don't quite get it. The family, they say, is still fighting this many years later for clearing him 100% of the crimes, but he was pardoned.
I wonder if that's something like the Alford plea.
I was just going to say that goofy law that we went through with the West Memphis 3, and we've brought it up before that there's other cases that Alford plea has been used, and it is a weird one where you're still, guilty even though they let you out. It's just really weird. So that's very possible. Now, Jeff, we see that with serial killers intelligent like this guy and their ability to fool people, with that whole sincerity and just appearing honest. I mean, that to me is scarier than the creepy looking serial killer,
Yeah, for sure. Because those guys, they could be your next door neighbor and you would never know what the hell they're doing.
Right.
That's why, like when I do my talks on serial killer psychology, I try to get people to understand that a lot of these killers, they don't look creepy, right? They're not. Right. There are some that do, but most of the time, you're not going to know unless you trust your instincts and you trust your gut.
I think you're a killer, Jeff.
What's that, Chris?
So I think you're a killer, Jeff.
He thinks you're a
I
killer,
see.
Jeff.
I got to tell you, you're not the first person that said that, but it'd be a fucking wild ass gig.
Right?
All the stuff that I'm doing, and if I was putting bodies in the basement.
Yeah.
But this here, you know, we talk about how intelligent he is, and he was, and he's in this courtroom, and he's wiggling his way out of all this shit.
Right.
And he finds a way to get out of it and put on the waterworks and do all that. And he has got to feel like $1 million when he walks out of it. This guy gets put to death.
I'm smarter than everybody.
Yeah, it just feeds into his ego, and it feeds into him believing he's smarter. Look, he's fucking doing abortions, and he's playing doctor in his house. Right?
Right.
So, like, he feels like he is God at this point. He can do anything.
You imagine Christie on TikTok doing like abortion stuff on TikTok. Could you even see it? You know. All right. So he definitely dodges the bullet with the Tim Evans case, but he's not stopping anytime soon. He needs to keep on killing. And with this, you know, serial killers, once they get that taste, things start to escalate. And we've seen before, though, as I mentioned, they get sloppy. Chris, so he ends up killing his wife, Ethel, of course, not your mom, but how does that all go down with him killing his wife?
Like he fucking takes her own nylon stockings. He claims they were better or whatever, but he chokes her out. And after he chokes her out and kills her, he convinces all the relatives and everything that she just went to a different town. And he's able to keep it up for fucking quite a while, and everybody believes him for a minute. And then he starts selling their fucking wedding ring.
Right.
He's fucking making money off that. It's like got no job.
Selling her clothes. What the fuck?
Empties her fucking bank account and never gets away real quick at all.
Right. Yeah, that's just messed up. So yeah, I mean, he's empties everything out. And Joey, from January to March of 1953, Christie kills 3 more women that he lured back to 10 Rillington Place. This place is like a murder factory, man.
Yeah, he's fucking definitely got it going on. Like, this goes to show you, I mean, that's 3 more. I mean, I don't know. Like you said, the victims just keep piling up. But he changes up his gas method. Because at first he's just using it and he would fucking get the gas straight line to him and fucking turn it on. But now he's like, well, if I already have the gas turned on and just crimp then as soon as I need it, I can just open it, right there. So he's perfected his methods. Now, I'm going to tell you what, the John Christie case, it kind of goes to show you got Jack the Ripper back in the day, and that was an unsolved case, and they didn't know who it was. And look how big that legend became. John Christie came out and he did some brutal ass shit way back in the day. And basically it wasn't even really heard about until the boom of the serial killer culture basically came about in the 90s. And this case is as brutal as it gets. What we're talking about, like we said, add 3 more murders on top of everything he's done. This dude's kill count's fucking huge.
Right.
And people just didn't really talk about it that much.
No, I'm sure at the time and in London it was a thing, but it didn't have that, doesn't have that staying power that, other cases have had. It's just so interesting how that happens. Now, I didn't see that on the last 3 victims were prostitutes, so I'm not sure how the fuck he's getting women to come back to that shithole, but he obviously was. And there's some controversy as to whether he was a necrophiliac. I thought this was interesting. He was raping the women while they were unconscious and then continued after they died. So some say that it wasn't exclusively having sex with the dead, that he's not a true necrophiliac. But I mean, I'm not making that distinction. I think if you're fucking dead people, you're a necrophiliac, whether they were alive for part of it or not. I mean, Jeff, your thoughts? I mean, on
Yeah, but
necrophilia. I mean,
yeah, I think you're right. I think if you're fucking dead people, if they're dead at any point during the performance, that's necrophilia.
And if
Yes,
they're unconscious, that's kind of the same thing too. Some
Yeah,
of these
and
guys
see,
get off on the lifeless body, even if it's not dead.
for sure. And see, this is one of the things we talk about this a bunch. And my buddy Steve Gianangelo, who wrote the book, oh shit.
I've got both his books.
The psychology of the serial murderer, right?
Yeah.
So he talks a bunch about how you can't necessarily classify a serial murderer as having 2 or more kills or 3 or more kills with a cooling off period. There is a lot to be said for intent, right? And going and moving forward. It's the same thing here. Like, if you are fucking people that are unconscious,
right?
Like, clearly you would, if they were dead, you would still fuck them because that's what you're looking for anyway.
Right.
It's necrophilia, no matter what way you go around it. If somebody's unconscious, that's what you want.
Right. Yeah. I
want
agree.
them non-moving.
Exactly. Not resisting at all. Now, it's interesting that he stored the last 3 victims in the wall of the kitchen. This one kills me.
Huh.
And he puts up like a false wall and wallpapers it off. And that had to smell lovely in the kitchen there in that little fucking apartment with these dead fucking bodies in the wall. But March of 1953, he moves out of 10 Rillington Place and subleases the apartment to somebody else for a few dollars profit. But the landlord finds out and throws the fucking guy out of the apartment. So his sublease is done. He's fucking out. So he allows another tenant to start using for whatever reason, the kitchen in Christie's old apartment. And this guy's in there like hanging shit on the walls. This is really funny, the way they do it in the 10 Rillington Place, because it's just as you would picture it. You know, he's hammering a nail into the wall and it like goes through like Shawshank Redemption shit with the poster.
Yes.
And then he's like, what the fuck? And he pulls it out and it's like, there's a body there. It's fucking crazy. But, you know, obviously it was a reenactment of this, but you know, it just, the way they did it was really like perfect. It's like what you would expect. And so of course he flips out and the fucking cops are there and they got 3 dead bodies wrapped up in blankets, stinking. I don't know if they were still stinking by then or not. So Chris, the cops are looking for Christie. Now they find these bodies and it's just a matter of time before they get his ass.
Dude, he didn't even leave fucking town. He just went to a fucking hotel across town and fucking rented a motherfucking room. And when they, under his real name and his fucking address.
Right.
So that's not that you're fucking keeping way under the radar there, sir. But yeah, they catch up with him and he leaves the room early because rented it for like 7 days, but left after like 4 or 5. It's like, all right, cool. Now he's just hanging out on fucking park benches and just being a homeless guy, fucking
right.
saying fuck it. And runs out of cash, so I gotta sell something, gets rid of the watch, and they catch his ass, dude. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's eventually, you know, he finally gets caught. And I thought it was interesting the cops found newspaper clippings about the Tim Evans case on Christie. So I'm definitely siding with Jeff on this one, where he really, that was like his crowning achievement, was getting off on that case. He must have really loved the spotlight and the fact he got away with the big one. But not for long, Reg. I mean, he definitely getting ready to go down. So Joey, he's on trial, and I'm thinking it's probably not going to go good for old Reggie. What's the deal?
Well, even back then, you know, he tries for the insanity defense. Doesn't work out even back then. Like,
right.
It's never been that great of a fucking
no,
defense
it's
for people.
Very difficult. You got to be like Richard.
Very
you got to be Richard Chase to get off with some shit
right.
like that. You know, really.
Yeah. But I mean, on top of that, they didn't accept the insanity defense, and they ended up finding the bodies out in his garden, the skeletons, and they had so much evidence on him. Now, I found it kind of wild that back then, like, so to talk about abortion was so taboo back then, even just in normal situations.
Right.
So during the court proceedings, which the prosecutors nor the defense, neither of them spent very much time. If you see the transcriptions from the court case, like, I think there was like 15 minutes spent by the defense that was trying to downplay that, because they were using the idea that these women were actually harming themselves, and that fucking Christie and his wife were like telling them to stop doing what they were doing, you know, and trying to help them out. And so that was part of their defense. But even with that being the strongly part of their defense, they couldn't even bring up the abortion part of it that much. And like I said, it was largely left out of the case as a whole. And that's why he basically got mostly charged for the murder of his wife.
Right.
And,
right.
You know, even with all the other stuff they had, that was basically what
they knew that's all they needed, right? Was one, right? Yeah. So they put the one on them that they had the best evidence and knew they were going to slam dunk, and sounds like that's exactly what they did. And then we were talking about this earlier, Jeff, but probably the oddest of odd collections. What was old Reg Christie keeping from his victims?
Man, he was keeping that pubic hair, man.
Wow. on 10 Rillington Place, he had them in like a little tie around them, like, so they were in a bundle, and he had them like tied together, but there was a lot. So I'm like, man, he was almost like pretty much shaving them to get, that's how much hair I'm talking about, like a lot of hair.
Like a pubic bouquet.
Yeah, it was like a big bouquet. It was fucked up. I'm like, man, some hairy bush fucking trimmed up. I mean, Jesus.
This is pre-70s bush, right?
Oh, dude.
Like a fucking mountain.
1950s bush. So he was bushwhacking. And I never heard of a pubic hair collection. That is probably the most disturbing thing. And how much you think that would go for on the internet? Reginald Christie's pubic hair collection.
Dude,
oh my God!
You look at like how much like semen paintings and blood paintings,
right?
From everybody. So I wonder, like, what he was doing with all that hair. Like, did he put it in his pillow? Like, was he sleeping with it?
I don't know.
Sniffing it all night long?
On the 10 Rillington Place, he shows him, like, looking at, he had, like, 2 or 3 of them in his hand, and he was just holding them. So it was brief, but I was just like, what the fuck? Like, that's some fucking hair. So, so
tickled his butthole with it.
Probably something. So yeah, it was hilarious, but I never heard of such a thing. That Murder Metal Mayhem's got to bring up the fucked up shit. And speaking of that, Chris, any pubic hair collections in the nation?
Oh fuck, dude! What?
I got something to add.
I didn't know if you had it.
Thanks, Jeff.
No, if
I do not have a pubic hair collection.
All right, that's good. And your brother Michael doesn't either?
That's on him, not me.
All right, fair enough.
I'll ship it some stuff to the address here soon.
There you go.
Oh shit.
10 Rillington Place, the movie I mentioned, is very good. It's based on this case. It follows it very closely. So it's not like loosely based on it. It's pretty damn accurate. Obviously, they have to ad-lib dialogue, and, they get more into the relationship between Christie and his wife, which I found very fascinating. Tim Roth plays Christie. He's like lights fucking out good. So just for him alone, it's worth watching it. But all the actors are great. The lady that plays his wife is really good. They're all fantastic. It's a 3-part BBC docuseries. Was done in 2016. You can IMDb it and see if you can find it in other places. I went to YouTube, and I bought it for like $5. Well worth
I don't
it.
remember.
Well worth
I
it.
don't remember exactly who it is, but I'm pretty sure if I remember right, old girl that plays his wife in the movie is somebody that was on The Walking Dead, but I can't remember exactly who.
Oh, okay. Huh. I'm not sure. I've seen Walking Dead, but that didn't jump out at me. But not saying she wasn't on there. So yeah, it's really really good if you're interested in the case. Joey, any metal bands doing some Reg Christie songs?
I did not see any metal bands. I saw some. I actually saw like a couple folk bands did some songs, and
Right.
I could see that.
yeah, and something else. But I didn't see any metal bands. I even like triple check Macabre's fucking discography, and
Right.
they have not done a song about John Christie. I was surprised about that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I would have figured there would have been at least a few. And then, you're talking about One Strange Motherfucker, definitely the way he killed with the gas, and then the pubic hair collection, the necrophilia, and all of it. Definitely a very disturbed and deranged fucking serial killer. Jeff, is John Reginald Christie part of the Killer's card game? I think earlier you said he was, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You got him on there?
That's the card.
He's part of our World of Serial Killers expansion.
Okay.
So we put him in early.
I
on.
bought that, so then I should have it. I haven't played since I got the expansion, so I'm getting ready to play again, though. So that's cool. Christie's in the expansion pack.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He's not the best killer, but he's in there.
Now, what's the latest with Killers the card game? Because we know we talked about it, and you're sponsoring this episode, and we sure appreciate that. But truly,
Yes,
we're not plugging it because it's just because you're the sponsor. We really legitimately love the game.
Yeah.
So what's the latest with it?
Dude, it has been a wild year, right? So our first year in business, we did like 506 units in 6 countries. This last year, our last like business year is from April 9th.
Year.
Yeah, it's from April 9th to April 9th, or April 10th to April 9th. And so this last year, to date, I got another week left, right? We're almost at our 2-year anniversary. And I did 1,304 units. I almost tripled my business.
That's
fantastic.
fantastic.
Dude.
Yeah, but you've been all over the place, man. I see you every weekend. You're like, you're here. You are all over, and you get such a big personality. So it's just really cool. And even just a still shot of you seems like 1,000 things are going on. So
yeah, man, I just released yesterday on all the social media stuff that we have got a full like laundry list of shit that's coming out this year, even stuff that's outside of the realm of killers. I've got a new game that's coming out in May called Kill Scene, and this game, the concept of it was it was supposed to be like you were playing spades, right? And so you had to get your points from creating your kill scene from an abduction, a transportation, a location, and a kill. But you're going to have to also like steal from other players and negotiate with other players to get your kill. That game is going to be wild. I literally just released the video before the show tonight.
Oh, cool.
It is up on social media. You guys can check that out. There's a little video there.
Nice.
But then I'm releasing the Mass Murderers expansion for Killers the card game.
Fuck
which
yeah.
I've been talking about for a fucking year, and it's about ready to come out.
Awesome. Got a couple names you want to drop who might be in that expansion pack?
Holy shit, man. Number one.
Oh, man.
Number one, Hitler is in the expansion pack.
Oh, brutal.
Okay.
As well as Saddam Hussein,
Nice.
Osama bin Laden. So is Kim Jong-un's father is in there.
Yeah.
Right.
So eventually I foresee a whole bunch of people coming to my house and fucking me up.
Right.
But,
Right.
Right.
All of the
Pol
school
Pot?
shooters
You got
are in
Pol
there.
Pot in there?
Yeah, Pol Pot is in there.
Nice.
So,
nice.
but then you have Ted Kaczynski is in there. All of the school shooters are in there. So
Oh,
Eric
nice.
Harris and Dylan Klebold are in there.
Oh, fuck
So-
yeah,
Right.
dude.
And so here's the catch with that game, right? We are going to flip it on its head, and the mass murderers are going to be the victims, and you're going to have to kill them before they kill other
Oh,
people.
okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh man, nice.
Nice. Yeah.
So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be wild.
That
And then I got a
sounds
whole
fun.
bunch of shit going on. I'm doing custom games for people. I've got a couple really, really crazy big names
Yeah.
that I'm in talks with right now.
Yeah, that's
to
good stuff.
Create some custom stuff. It is just bananas. And some of that was literally from this past weekend.
Yeah, that's awesome,
Unreal.
dude. Congratulations, man.
That's awesome.
Definitely glad that you're doing well with that. So that's cool. Guys, anything to add to our conversation here about old Reginald Christie before we wrap up this segment?
There's one thing that I wanted to say is I think it's fucked up how nobody noticed that those basic like femur bones holding up pieces of fence in the garden or whatever. the
Oh yeah, I
backyard.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Like, how did nobody notice that shit, dude?
Right?
Oh, it's just an old Halloween decoration. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that is funny.
So what there was something I wanted to mention too.
Yeah.
Like we talk about how intelligent he was, but how fucking intelligent could you be if you sublet your house with the bodies still in there?
That was dumb.
Dude,
Like they weren't gonna
dude.
find them, you know?
Yeah.
With a piece of paper covering them.
Well, you look at Gacy, right? He had the 29 bodies under his house,
Right.
and everybody complained about how it smelled. Well, what the fuck do you think happens in an apartment with 3 bodies in the wall?
In your kitchen. Yeah, that's
Dude, that's the
That's
dumbest
rough,
shit
man.
ever. Like,
Why don't you ask Gacy about that, or Dahmer about that?
yeah. So if you're gonna, like, if you were that smart, wouldn't you fucking move the bodies?
right. I
Get
know.
rid of them.
Yeah, I mean, so smart, but
Yeah,
yet so stupid at the same time. Like it's fucked
Yeah.
up, you know. It's
Well, it's the same thing with like Dennis Nielsen, right? He
right,
fucking
Yeah.
takes
Yeah,
the bodies and clogs the toilet
right,
because he
Oh.
down the toilet.
right.
Like, how dumb is that?
Or
Exactly.
what was the lady we talked about where she had her babies in the shoe boxes in the house,
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my
ended
God,
up-
yeah.
and she ended up moving and left those, and that's how she got busted. It's like, take your goddamn fetuses with you, bitch.
Yeah, that was one of our Mother's Day episode. Yeah. I can't remember her name, but yes, I remember that
can't either,
case. It
okay.
was fucked up. All right. Well, I did my research by watching a few documentaries on YouTube. There's some good ones out there. A couple articles I read, Murderpedia, Wikipedia for some stuff. There are things out there. I mentioned that 10 Rillington Place, or I'm sorry, it's just called Rillington Place. Really, really good. Well worth watching that BBC show. Now, next week, guys, I can't believe it. 5 years of Murder Metal Mayhem next week. What do you think about that?
Wow.
God damn it, dude.
Crazy.
Crazy, Chris. Never would have thought. 5 years doing this. Been throwing down every week and nonstop. Very rarely take a break. We just keep firing them out. We're doing episode 217 right now, coming up on 5 years, which is interesting. And I
That's
thought
fucked
this
up to me, dude.
I thought this was interesting too, Chris, when I realized that our 5-year anniversary is episode 218. And what is my birthday?
Holy shit, your birthday's 2/18.
February 18th. I thought that's
Hey,
weird. Yours
mine's
is the 17th.
2/18.
So
Holy shit.
awfully close
Yeah.
to yours and right on mine. So that's interesting. Episode
So we're doing
218.
my birthday episode now.
That's right. That's
And
right.
that's
There you
5-year
go.
anniversary.
There you go. So next week we thought we would get kind of wild. The Speed Freak Killers, which is going to be
Fuck
fun.
yeah.
Lauren Herzog and Wes Shermantine. These crazy motherfuckers smoking fucking meth, driving around in the country. They live in like rural Northern California, throwing bodies down fucking old oil wells, throwing some of them just on the side of the road, just going fucking nuts. They were convicted of 4, but they think it could be as many as 19 or even more than that. Because
that's what meth will do to a motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, they weren't, this Wes Shermantine was definitely the kind of the catalyst here, but we'll talk about that next week. It's going to be a wild one. We're going to have Tex on with us, so that'll be fun. And that'll be our 5-year anniversary show. So it should be a good one. You definitely don't want to miss that. Now, thanks for coming on to talk with us, Jeff. Always fun to chat serial killers with you, dude.
Absolutely, man. So this is funny. You guys mentioned next week's episode and meth being part of it.
Yeah.
In the Lady Killers expansion, one of the weapon cards is meth.
Oh, no. Yeah, there's been plenty of them getting tangled up in that stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. But yeah, great to have you on, Jeff. And we're going to have Joey close out with some good page a day stuff, usually some fun serial killer or true crime facts here. So what's up, Joey, with the page a day this week?
Yeah, I'll burn through these. I got a couple of them. I also want to say thanks, Jeff, for coming on. Super awesome. All of us, we got the Killers game. We play the game. It's cool, man.
It is
good
awesome.
Networking right here.
Yeah. And go to the episode description. I'll link to how to get a copy of the game from Jeff.
Hell yeah. All right. So for page today, this first one they're talking about is about Gretchen Anthony. This is a more recent case. This was a pretty classic one. March 23rd, 2020. Gretchen Anthony, she texts her friends and her family that she's tested positive for COVID-19. Now, this is right whenever this shit was popping out, and it was like, huge in the media, big scares.
Right.
Pandemic sweeping the nation over the next few days. And so from her text, she's telling people her condition's worsening. She tells them that she has to admit herself to the local hospital and then gets transferred to a CDC facility. Now, this is some crazy ass shit she's talking about, but back then the whole world was doing crazy shit, so people believe, what's happening.
Right.
She wasn't answering any of her phone calls, and it was soon discovered that there was no such CDC facility that existed.
Oh
no. So the concerned loved ones then contact the authorities, who, upon investigating her home, they talked to a neighbor who said that they had heard a blood-curdling scream on March 21st inside Gretchen's house. And whenever they went in, they found blood on the walls, and they noticed that security cameras had been removed from the walls. The security company, of course, they're able to get the footage off the cloud because people, if you don't know this by now, anything that's recorded, they got that shit still.
Right,
so,
right.
This led to Gretchen's estranged husband, David Anthony. He gets arrested on March 31st. Cadaver dogs find evidence of decomposing human remains in his car. So he was the one, he was sending texts from her phone using COVID-19 as a cover-up, and that actually he had brutally stabbed her to death in her home, and he had abandoned her car at a local hospital where she had allegedly been admitted. He was charged with first-degree murder, but ended up pleading guilty to second-degree murder because the family, everybody, they wanted the body back so badly, they let him do that and do the plea deal. And that's whenever he led them to her body. They did get it back. He was sentenced to 38 years in prison. So the COVID cover-up, that was a classic.
Yeah.
How old was he when that happened?
How old was he? I'm not sure. Yeah. I don't know how old they were. I can't remember.
Okay. All right. Just curious how old he's going to be when he gets out.
Oh, yeah. I think they were in their 30s. I can't remember, though. This next one that they're talking about is the shift to decriminalize sex work. Now, this is a big topic that's going on.
Okay.
April 21st, 2021, Manhattan District Attorney's Office in New York, they announced that they would no longer prosecute prostitution or unlicensed massage, dismissing 914 cases against sex workers and unlicensed massage therapists, and there was 5,080 cases that involved loitering to the purposes of sex work that got dropped. Some of the cases dated all the way back to the 70s and the 80s. So the DA specified that they would continue prosecuting crimes such as patronizing sex workers and promoting prostitution and sex trafficking. So what this is taking a lot of the heat off a lot of the women that get forced into the sex trade or whatnot.
Right.
And actually, this is going after the people that use the prostitutes and pimp the prostitutes and all of that. So it's kind of a trend that's going on nationwide. So that was something else they were talking about. But New York, they were up the upper hand on that. The last thing that I had from Page a Day is so just don't go out and get yourself a prostitute because you're still going to get busted.
Even part time. Even part time.
Exactly. Not even part time.
Yeah. And then the last one that that I was going to talk about in Page a Day was today is April 4th that we're doing the podcast, and this is the day that Martin Luther King Jr. he was assassinated 55 years ago today. This is 2023 in case you're listening to this in the future, but he was shot on a balcony outside the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee, and he was pronounced dead on arrival at a local hospital. A rifle was found a block away from the motel with the fingerprints of the small-time criminal and fugitive James Earl Ray on it, and there were eyewitnesses that placed Ray at the scene of the murder. He was captured in London on June 8th, and in March 1969, he pleaded guilty to murder to avoid the death penalty and was sentenced to 99 years. Days later, he tried to reverse his plea, saying that he fled the country not because he was guilty, but because he was being set up for King's murder. He filed multiple motions to appeal before his death in 1998, and all were denied. During the 1990s, King's family actually supported Rames Clay that he was a patsy, saying the FBI had assassinated King after harassing him for years. His assassination had been reviewed multiple times by the federal and Tennessee state government. The House Select Committee on Assassination suggested that Ray may have had accomplices and that all other investigations found no evidence of a greater conspiracy. But
interesting.
So some history. That was
interesting. And speaking of April 4th, today is my anniversary, 3-year anniversary with Jenny. So kind of crazy. It's been 3 years, but time flies. All right. Well, I think we've done our fair share of murdering tonight, so it's time to crank up some metal. So, Jeff, what the fuck do we need to do?
It's time to get our metal
Just
on.
because CK has passed on, he's not done educating the masses. CK will forever be the great metal motherfucker. We're here to stomp poser ass and eradicate the planet of their kind. CK has passed the torch to us, and we will forge the fuck on. In CK's name, we will bestow metal knowledge upon all of you. All right. Forever in the memory of CK, the great metal motherfucker. Yeah, he's right behind me here, the CCK, cardboard cutout of CK. And just great to have him here always throwing up the horns. So,
oh, fuck yeah.
All right. Well, when it's the way we've been doing it since CK passed is we take turns passing the horns. Literally, we got some goat horns. And Chris, you need to pass the horns to Joey.
Oh, yeah, I ain't got them, but Joey got them right there.
And Joey's got some horns. So you've got the horns this week, Joey. And when you got the horns, that means that you get to pick what we talk about in metal. And so I'm going to turn it over to you. We're going to be eating Pop-Tarts because that's our thing we do. And you listeners want to send us some Pop-Tarts? That would be appreciated. Murder Metal Mayhem, P.O. Box 554, Hayworth, Illinois, 61745.
All right.
He's like, hold on, let me put these Girl Scout cookies away.
Yeah, I'm cheating on the Pop-Tarts this week with the Girl Scout cookies.
Like I said, I got Oreos.
You know, there was a joke that I used to tell whenever I was a kid that after I got older, I couldn't tell it anymore. But I'm going to tell it anyway because it's still fucking funny. But it's, I used to tell people, man, you know, I got kicked out of the Boy Scouts for eating brownies.
Right?
And now as
Yep.
an adult, I can't tell that joke as an adult. But anyway.
But you can because it's funny.
All right, so for today's metal segment, I'm going down to Texas and I'm doing the band Stabbing. Now, Stabbing is a very, very new band. They were formed in 2021.
Wow.
This band consists of Renee Martinez on drums, who he also plays drums for Flesh Order, which I know y'all have heard me talk about them.
Yep.
And Marvin Ruiz on guitars, Bridget Lynch is on vocals, and Meryl Martinez is on bass. And she played bass in the Borning too, which was our buddies. So
I remember when they played the fucking small
Oh, hell
apartment
yeah.
fest, baby.
hell yeah. So Stabbing, they are currently on Comatose Music, who is just a badass label. They put out a lot of good shit.
Oh yeah.
And in 2021, they self-released a 3-song demo, and I mean, it was just fucking huge. They got it out. They got it to a fucking ton of people. People fucking checked it out. I mean, you got to imagine with a band that's in brutal death metal, that's got a couple females in it and a couple guys in it, that there was going to be some people that were like, "Oh, I don't know about that," you know.
Right.
fucking-
Right.
But they came out and they were so fucking heavy that nobody could even fucking say anything
That's
about it. 'cause-
legit as fuck, man.
Yeah, they fucking put the proof in the pudding right there, so to speak, and the music fucking definitely speaks for itself. So they put out the 3-song demo. It was huge. Same year, 2021, they released their 3-song. I'm sorry, actually, it was a 4-song EP, Ravenous Psychotic Onslaught, which came out on Comatose Music. Last year, 2022, they dropped their debut full-length, Extirpated Mortal Process, also on Comatose, but that had some killer artwork by Dimorph. The album art is so nasty. It had 12 all-new tracks. The demo, the EP, and the full-length, not one song was repeated, so they didn't re-record some songs
Right.
or
Right.
reuse them. It was all new stuff every step of the way. Not only, I'm talking about that. That's all they have for studio. Like I said, they're brand new. So they got one full length, one EP, one demo. Try to find that shit, collectors. You can get the full length, but the other ones are going to be hard to find, especially as this game or this band gains popularity. It'd be even harder to get access to. But in 2022, after they released that, I mean, they had already been doing so many badass shows, and their live set is awesome as fuck too. They played like Chicago Domination Fest, and they'd be back for that. They just got back from playing Australia, which that's fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
I heard that in the interview. That was cool.
Yep. They've been all over the U.S. They're playing Full Terror this year.
I
which is
was
awesome.
just gonna say they just got
Yeah.
released as a fucking band playing for FTA. Fucking
Yeah. They're also playing a show back. So, I mean, this band just blew up. They're doing tours. They got a tour with Defeated Sanity coming up. A lot of cool things happening from this band. So this 4-piece from Texas called Stabbing. Go check it out. The bassist Meryl, she was cool enough to do an interview with me. It's a quick one. It's only about 8 minutes long, but we're gonna let you hear that on here, and we'll put it as a standalone on YouTube as well.
Hell yeah. All right, let's check that out.
What's up, y'all? Joey here, Murder Metal Mayhem. Got to do this little interview with Meryl, bassist of the band Stabbing, who is just hot fire right now. Band is dope as hell, so very grateful to have this chance to have a little Q&A. So I'm going to get this going right away. First off, when and how did Stabbing come about? Was it an idea for a while before it actually took form? And did COVID have anything to do with it, being housebound? Because I know a lot of bands were doing stuff at that time.
So Stabbing's been a band for about 2 years now. We started in June of 2021. And it wasn't really an intentional thing at first. It started off with Marvin and Renee going back and forth, sending each other videos and riffs and different ideas. Marvin would send Renee some guitar riffs and he would put drums over it, and also vice versa. Renee would send Marvin drum recordings and Marvin would put guitar riffs over it. So they were kind of doing their own thing together, and Bridget and I were not involved yet. and it came about they were starting to look for a vocalist. And they had different people lay their vocals over the tracks, and Bridget ended up putting her vocals over the tracks. And hers sounded the best. You know, everyone liked it, or they liked it the best. I wasn't really involved yet. I was in school at the time, so really focused on that. And what happened is we ended up going to a show in Houston. That's where Bridget and Marvin live. Renee and I are in Austin, about 3 hours away. And after the show, we stayed there that night in Houston. And the next day we went back to the venue, and you're able to rent out the space and jam there. So I didn't even have my bass with me at the time. Just borrowed a bass, just borrowed equipment. And we had our first official stabbing band practice. And it went really well. And that's just kind of how we were formed. After that, we, you know, created our group chat and started talking about the future, and things started taking off from there.
Hell yeah. No, that's badass. I had no idea that's how it all came about, so that's cool. So you guys have played some amazing shows already, even in the early years of the band. What are a couple standouts, and what are a couple upcoming ones that you guys are stoked on as well?
Now, this question is very hard, because we have played a bit of shows the last 2 years we've been a band, but all of them have been absolutely phenomenal. One that comes to mind, it's kind of fresh too, is we just played Australia a few weeks ago, and that was amazing. That was our first overseas show. For us, it was the first overseas show we'd all ever played as a band and, you know, as individuals. And just the whole experience was great. It was a very good turnout, and just overall the experience of being over there and in a different country was great. Besides that, though, shit. Like I said, there's just so many. We played with Mortician a few times, but it was not this last winter, but the winter before that. We played with them in Houston, and that was a really good show. I always love playing Houston. Just people there are crazy in the best way possible. They just really love the music, and they always get super into it. We're about to play there again in a few weeks. Very excited. Another show I would have to say was in North Carolina. I think that's the right one. It was at the Milestone Club, which I guess is a pretty old club. They've had shows there for decades. And I didn't know about this prior, so we pull up, and it's not much of a looker on the outside. So I wasn't really expecting much, you know? Don't really know much about their scene there. I think it was a Monday night. But the doors open, and all these people just, like, show up out of nowhere. And it was a packed show, and these people are just going all fucking night. It felt like a Saturday night. I couldn't believe it. Really would like to play there again, hopefully sometime in the next year or so. But like I said, just we played a lot of great shows, and I have a lot of hope for the future shows, especially this tour coming up with Defeated Sanity. We will be going into Canada a little bit, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
Fuck yeah, it's going to be fucking awesome. Proud of you guys. I mean, it's so cool. And I didn't know that was the first time that all of y'all had gone overseas, so that's neat. So the demo and the EP killed. The new album, Extirpated Mortal Process on Comatose Music, that is hard as fuck. And it's gotten so many listens of my ride, you know what I'm saying? But what is next as a fan for new music from Stabbing? What do I have to look forward to?
Oh yeah, man. That's awesome to hear you've been bumping that. So for new music, can't really speak too much on that. People can definitely expect more from us in the future. As for right now, we have that tour coming up in the summer with Defeated Sanity, so we are preparing for that. We're also about to go to Switzerland before that, here in May, in about 2 months. So really, we're just kind of preparing and getting ready for the tour and the shows that we have coming up.
Yeah, I totally get that, and you guys definitely have a lot going on, so it'd be good to get that under wraps first. So, what are some of the biggest sources of inspiration for Stabbing? Are the songs a group idea, or does each member come in with new ideas? How does that work for you guys?
I'd say a lot of what we do as a band, we do together, coming up with ideas, and like for our full-length album art, We all came up with that idea together and collaborated with the artist to come up with that. As far as the lyrics go, Bridget and Marvin write that. And a lot of our lyrics are based off of things like horror movies, psychological thriller type stuff. We have songs that are based off of real life events with actual serial killers and murderers. So there's that too. So nothing that's too far out of the ordinary for what other brutal death metal bands may do. But we are called Stabbing, so we have to keep up with the name and write shit that's brutal.
Yeah, for sure. And I get, man, like, same inspiration basically that I do with Goremonger, and you're probably right. Probably most bands have somewhat the same deal. So anyway, so this comes towards the end of this interview, and like I said, thank you again so much for taking your time to do this, Meryl. Super awesome. Huge fan of Stabbing. Any final words or shout outs for our listeners?
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for allowing me and Stabbing to be a part of your podcast. We really appreciate it. Just want to give a shout out to anyone who's listening right now, anyone who's shown Stabbing love. We fucking love y'all. I want to give a shout out to our homies in Defeated Sanity. As I mentioned prior, we're going to be touring with them in July, so hope to see a lot of people out there. It's going to be a fucking great time. Thanks again, Joey.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you to everybody that checked out this interview. Go check out Stabbing. You will not be disappointed.
Hell yeah, great interview that you did there, Joey. That was really cool, and very cool of her to do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Meryl, for fucking hooking it up.
Yeah, fucking good band, sick as fuck. Definitely gotta check them out.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Chris, what's the Lost Classic this week? It's your turn to come up with one.
So I can't really say it's a classic, but I think it's something that I don't know if a lot of people, I know there's a lot of people that have heard it, but fucking, God damn it, Beyond Creation's fucking Aurora, their first album they put out is fucking 2011. Fucking, it's just a badass album. Their fucking technical shit is insane. So just like go check out Beyond Creation in general, dude.
Okay.
Like I would love to do a fucking, I thought about doing a segment on them. And I know I've done segments on bands that don't have a lot, but it's just like, I'll just let this go as a lost classic, basically.
That's cool.
But yeah.
Awesome.
They're badass, dude. Check them out.
Now, some sad news to report on this past weekend in Belvedere, Illinois. And guys, we were talking about this at the Apollo Theater. A 50-year-old man died when the roof collapsed at the Morbid Angel Skeletal Remains show. And we
Revocation.
Revocation. Yeah, it was badass. Crypta, I think, was on there.
Yes.
Yeah, they were the openers. But this was in northern Illinois, about 2 hours from where we are located. And I thought about going to that show. And the weird thing, I was going to ask my son to go with me. And so it's just ironic, to me that this 50-year-old man, so a few years younger than me, Frederick Forrest Livingston, is there at the show with his son. And his son was standing right next to him when the roof came down and killed his dad. I can't even believe, can't even imagine it. I feel horrible for this guy and his family. And, it was a lot of bands have been posting this. He's got a GoFundMe going on.
I was going to say, there's a GoFundMe going out for this guy. Fucking, he needs it. And there's a lot of other struggling victims from there that were injured. He's the only one that passed. But it was like minimum of 28 people that I know of that got hurt, and a lot of them critical, like in the hospital bed.
Yeah, racking up hospital bills. Yeah.
If you can do anything you can to help these people, go look it up. I'm sure there's sites for everyone on there because they need it, dude. That's devastating shit. I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, me either. And I'll try to, if I can hunt down a link for that, I'll throw it in the episode description here. So if you're listening and you want to donate to a very good cause, like Chris and I have been saying, Joey too, all of us, feel for this guy and his family. It's fucked up. All right. Well,
on a more positive note, I will say, last night I went to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I
Fuck
went
yeah.
to Stephanie and my buddy Sean from Alien 666, and we caught a show. Suffocation's on tour right now, and
Right.
they headline, and that was fucking awesome. And they played with the Convalescents. Yeah. The Convalescents, who's a band from here in Toledo. They're pretty big now.
They're
And then,
badass.
Between the Killings, that's my buddy Braxton's band, and
Right.
that was their first live show. Not live, but Vaughn Young from Lavidity, he's also in the band. He does the studio recordings of the guitars for him.
Nice.
But the band itself is just so fucking good. And then also Legion played, who's an old school death metal band. They're really good. So it's cool to see them out touring. Suffocation's still crazy
Out there
heavy
kicking
as
it.
fuck. Oh yeah. And the day after that show tonight, the Morbid Angel show's going through there at Pierre's, where I saw that show at.
Oh,
So
cool.
Morbid Angel ended up the bands ended up having to cancel the next show after that.
Right.
But
In
they-
That was in
Joliet.
Joliet, right?
Yeah, and they only missed the one, but then they ended up
They're doing it tonight
rescheduling
or
it right
tomorrow
away.
night, I think.
Yeah, so it's such a tragedy, but it was good to see everybody, push forward and be
Right.
strong about it. Everybody help with the GoFundMe and stuff. So
Right.
Fucking right.
metal
Dude,
is strong.
Metal is strong. It was badass to see, I seen video from the Apollo,
People helping
motherfuckers,
each other.
all these motherfuckers grabbing chunks of roof trying to get
Yeah.
people unstuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's metal coming together. That's what we do. People think metalheads are all just oh, fuck yeah, destruction. Die. No,
Right.
motherfucker, this is what we do. We help each other out, dude.
Right. No, I agree, Chris. It too
Hell
often
yeah.
doesn't get reported that, people that are into metal are, some of the most generous giving people that are out there, honestly.
Definitely.
All right. Well, what have we all been listening to here lately, Chris, over there in the
You
nation?
know me, I got nothing to speak of per se. I just,
Okay.
I listen to a lot of podcasts,
All
and a
right.
lot of times they don't even pertain to what we're doing. I'm just oh, that's interesting. I want to hear that.
That's cool. Learning yourself there. Joey, what about you?
From out of California, my buddies in Artery Eruption, they put out their new album, Straight to the Ass. Just got that. Stoked. I haven't even listened to it yet, but I'm stoked. They haven't put out an album for a really long time. I also got, on the older front, I found a copy of the band Evicting the Testicular Squatters, or ETTS, and they're split with Fecal Corpse. That's one that I listened to a lot back in the day, and I never had the actual physical copy, and so I found a copy online and grabbed it. I was also
There you go.
listening to I was jamming some Acid Bath on the way to the show last night.
You were jamming some ass in the bath.
Yeah. And also fucking jamming my buddy's Blunt from up in DeKalb, fucking doom rock band.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been jamming some shit for sure. Been jamming the hell out of that Chronicle, that band from Denmark that I'm going to be interviewing here coming up. Demonology album and Where Chaos Thrives, the new one, comes out May 19th. They got a single or two out from that, but the full length doesn't come out for a bit. But I got that copy. I did the review. Great stuff if you're into technical death metal, kind of a combination of Carcass, later Carcass, and later Death, and some dissection thrown in there. It's a very interesting conglomeration of shit that just is amazing. Blood Red Throne, I've been still killing that with Imperial Congregation. And then a band I stumbled on today, Bastard Grave from Sweden. They got an album called Vortex of Disgust. Very cool. A couple of songs I listened to, definitely some old school death metal. So pretty cool, Bastard Grave. So I like that name. All right, I have the horns next, and I have decided to do my feature, which will fall on our 5-year anniversary, on Skeletal Remains. So I did that interview with them recently, and with all that happened in Belvedere, because they were getting ready to come on when this happened,
Right.
with the roof. So Crypta had just finished. Right. And that guy that died was the only guy that bought a shirt from Crypta at their booth right before
Is that for real?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked up. So I'm going to do Skeletal Remains next week. So
I did see that they've been doing pretty good on that fucking on that GoFundMe for him. Like, people have been fucking helping out. So
yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Now, I wanted to mention, too, I just got this yesterday in the mail, the book Destination Onward by Jeff Wagner. It's actually the story behind Fate's Warning. Now, this last album, I thought was the last one. CK said he thought he heard an interview with the singer that said they were done, but no official word. Nobody really knew for sure. Well, when I got the book, the first thing I did was turn to the end. And
you went to the last. Yeah.
it's kind of vague about it at the end. So I'm like, oh, really? But then as I started reading the intro and the early stuff, they come right out and say that, yeah, the last album is their last album. They're done.
Yeah.
But a great band, progressive metal, definitely one of the icons of progressive metal. Really good book. But what was cool was my former band, the one that I don't talk about on here, from Connecticut. They are mentioned in the book as being part of the Connecticut metal scene, so I thought that was super cool. And, you know, I used to hang out with those guys back in the day before they became, you know, very popular in that circle. So it was cool to be a part of that, and cool to see a lot of names of people that I knew, and some people that one guy that produced our band's first album, who was their, you know, kind of their live sound guy. So names I know, and it's just a really cool book. So if you're into Connecticut metal and Fate's Warning, check that out, Destination Onward. And you can get that at fateswarningbook.com. I'm going to try to find or see if he'll do an interview with me, the author. So that would be cool. Yeah. All right. Well, that's 666 Clubs a way you can support what we're doing. That's our Patreon, patreon.com/Murder Metal Mayhem. And, you know, you can get discounts on merch. You get the shows a day early, and it's only $3 a month. So you could pledge as much as you want, but as little as $3 a month. And so we appreciate those that have already done that. And if you haven't, I'll go put a link in the episode description so you can do that as well. All right, well, guys, I think we've done plenty of metal tonight. So, Chris, what the fuck do we need to do?
Let's get a mayhem on, yo.
Talk about banning abortion these days getting you down? Do you need someone to help you to take care of a little problem? Come by the Christie Abortion Clinic today, and you'll be worry-free in a few minutes.
My girl and I went to Christie Abortion Clinic. It worked out great. He did the abortion, and it killed her, too. I couldn't stand that bitch, and I sure as hell wasn't gonna raise a little crumb snatcher with her dumb ass. Fuck all that shit, I tell you.
There's nothing like a relaxing cup of tea as our coat hangers do the magic inside your uterus while you drift away on natural gas and a plethora of other fun drugs.
Oh, shit, I'm recording a commercial right now. Fuck. Oh, shit, my bad. My wife and I were there last week. Hold on a second. All right, we're good. She's been sick with infection ever since that day, but it's all right. She'll either live or die. But Mr. Christie got rid of that 8-month-old fetus with the fucking biggest smile you've ever seen. Oh my God, that's good. He even let us take her home in a jar. I'm sorry, guys, but this fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich is so good. I don't know what kind of jelly was in that jar in the fridge, but damn, it's good. Thanks, Reg. Appreciate you.
We're located conveniently on 10 Rillington Place in Notting Hill, London. We'll have the natural gas ready. We'll see you soon, and take care of that little fucker.
All right, so that was the commercial we did for the Christie Abortion Clinic. That was Murder Metal Mayhem all the way. Joey doing the narrator there, and Tex and Chris getting in on the testimonial. So that was good stuff.
I don't need y'all already know I don't need no more kids.
That's right. I definitely don't. So good stuff. Right. Definitely sick. Before that was Stabbing and the song Southern Hacksaw Execution. Pretty brutal.
Fucking right.
Like you said, Joey, nasty stuff. And you did a great job on that and the interview too. So awesome stuff. All right. Well, Joey, you said you had some mayhem?
I do got some mayhem. I got a pretty funny story. So I fucking.
Well, you live in the 419 now, so neck tattoo's not involved.
Yeah, neck tattoo's not involved. I'm closer now to where Dude's from, though. That guy.
Dude.
Yeah, he was from Detroit. Yeah. But anyway, so I got this CDR because I got this fucking book that I've been fucking flipping through of just old ass discs that are in a CD book, and every now and then I'll grab one out and throw it in the CD player in the car just to fucking hear what it is, you know?
Right.
So I got this one, and it's an old CDR. I'll fucking hold it up so you guys can see it. It's legitimately, it's a Napster CDR, and
wow.
I wrote soft radio mix on it. I don't know where this CD came from. It ended up probably somebody had a stolen car or something, and I ended up with the CDs. Some shit, who knows, you know?
Right.
But the disc itself has like all these fucking deterioration holes and shit all over it.
Right,
wow.
It's a burnt CD.
Right. And so I'm like, okay, this motherfucker ain't even gonna play it all. I'm gonna end up just throwing it in the trash, you know? So I put it in the CD player because I don't even know what's on it, and fucking it starts playing, and it's got like fucking dude, it's like. It's just the lamest radio shit. Dave Matthews Band and Cedar. Stephanie helped me out name a few of these bands, so I can.
I don't know who the fuck this is.
But
there's a couple tracks on it that you know what I'm saying, like everybody has a couple guilty pleasures that you know just kind of stuck on them for the years or whatever. So you know, there's a couple on there I listened to, and there was like one like rap remix song that was pretty good. Anyway, so I'm listening, and the CD with all these deterioration marks and shit, like, I'm listening, and the songs just keep fucking going, and it gets up to song 12, and, like, I'm like, dude, how the fuck did the CD even play all 12 of those first songs, like, without skipping? I still can't believe to this, you know what I'm saying, what the fuck's going on with this witch CD from Napster.
Right, dude. Anybody, all you youngsters, if you listen and you're young, you don't know what a burnt CD is. Once it gets played out so many times, it's done. Y'all don't even listen to CDs in general anyway.
Right.
So
right.
a burnt CD.
These kids are so young nowadays, they might not even know what a Napster is. So yeah.
Right.
But, exactly.
But anyway, so I'm listening to this CD. I get fucking 12 songs in, and fucking they play fine, and then all of a sudden, song 13 starts skipping, of course. So I'm like trying to flip through the songs just to see if anything else is on it. You know, it's worth fucking trying to check out or that will play. Nothing's playing. Skip a song, it starts skipping automatically. Fucking, I'm like, whatever. And so I get up, I get about fucking a few more songs in, and all of a sudden, this song fucking catches and starts playing. And what's it start doing?
No way.
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Disturbed Yeah, and that song it fucking plays perfectly all the way through on the CD, and nothing else after that will play either. So it was just so fucking funny.
Just that
one
one
song.
fucking
How
song.
funny
Holy
would that have
shit.
been? Cashman's in his vehicle jamming this shit, and some dude pulls up in like a obituary shirt and looks
Right,
over at him
just
like
look
fucking
over at it
poser.
God damn it.
You
And
poser.
when that song started playing, I was just like, dude, I wish that fucking Peter, Chris, or somebody was here with me right
Oh,
now.
that's
dude.
hilarious.
It was so fucking
Oh,
hilarious.
I would have died. Yeah, that's
That's
good
good.
stuff. Fuck yeah. That's awesome.
The fact that all he had to do was make that beat, we both know exactly what it is, though.
Oh, yeah. fuck
Right,
yeah.
right. Now, I know we joke around a lot about Goodfellas. I mean, we all three, just love that movie. I like it's like a religious experience when I watch it. I don't know if it's the Italian thing or what it is, but I just really love that movie. And so I've referenced a few different times one scene where there's a guy that gets like shot or stabbed and he's bleeding out and he's in the pizza place. And Henry is helping him in, and he's using like
Oh, he got
aprons.
shot.
He's putting aprons on his stomach, where he's bleeding out. And then Tootie says, "You wasted," and I've been saying 3 aprons. It's actually 8. I just wanted to go on the record. I want anybody hearing me and saying this guy's a poser. He doesn't really know Goodfellas. I questioned it because I wasn't sure how many it was. It's 8. So, I mean, I'm siding with him. That's too many fucking aprons.
That's excessive.
3
Right?
I might be able to
2
let
or
go.
3, exactly. But 8 of them, I mean, they're not cheap, So, I mean, that's funny. So, anyway, for our listeners that are listening to this and going, what the fuck is he talking about? Here, check this out. I'll play this for you.
I can't have that in this joint. I remember feeling bad about the guy, but I also remember feeling that maybe Tootie was right. I knew Paulie didn't want anybody dying in the building.
You're a real jerk. You wasted 8 fucking aprons on this guy. I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. I gotta toughen this kid up.
So there you go. A little Goodfellas for you, 8 fucking aprons. So that's just one of the classics from that movie. So,
Dude, I can throw a couple of Goodfellas quotes out that we could just pop in every now and again.
yeah, no, I'm actually going to get a few different ones. I'm definitely going to do Go Get Your Fucking Shine Box because I told you about the shirt I ordered with Billy Bats on it, and it just says Shine Box underneath it. So I'm anxious to bust that one out. So one of my favorite, another one of my favorite scenes of that movie. So just a classic for sure. All right, well, we got our own classic here called Killer Cage Match, guys. That's where we take a list of 75 killers, 75 objects they can fight with, and a variable and a song even playing while they do it in a cage while they fight to the death. And Chris, who do we want to say thank you to?
Once again, we have Mr. Justin Morris, we have Mr. Colin Rogers, and we have the fucking pimp daddy motherfucker, Ray McDaddy Fall.
Hell yeah, thanks, guys. And we got a good one down in the cage tonight, Joey. Who do we have fighting to the death?
We got Texas, USA with Dean Coral going up against the Russian madman, the chessboard killer.
Fuck yeah. And he tried to top Chikatilo, but he did not make it. So
No, he did not.
ended up in Black Dolphin, not having a good time with life, I'm thinking right now. All right, well, they have a couple of objects, Chris, and what are they going to be fighting with?
Tonight, they have themselves an electric drill. Electric or battery powered? Is it mobile or is it stuck to the wall?
They got plenty of cord. They'll be electric in there.
I just saying, like, if you're plugged into the wall, you can only go so far.
Right.
So then we have a leather bound Bible.
Interesting.
So there we go.
Interesting.
That's too fucking oof.
Yeah, and then Joey, what's the variable?
Kerry King, and he's got his brutal gauntlet nail armband.
Yeah.
Which is badass.
Always love that, man. That was the Hell Awaits, South of Heaven era, fucking Kerry King, very badass. And the song, Joey, I know this has got to be one of your favorites.
I used to wake up to this song. Like that's not a
Fucking
lie.
right. No, it's
In the morning. Break Stuff. Give Me Something to Break by Limp Bizkit.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And so that's an interesting matchup. So we got Dean Coral fighting the chessboard killer in a cage with an electric drill, a leather-bound Bible, and Kerry King with his fucking brutal armband in there with him, and Limp Bizkit, Give Me Something to Break on the fucking stereo. So, Chris, how do we even start this one up, man?
I got it down.
Okay. All right.
So basically, fucking goddamn fucking Coral, he's over there. He sees that drill and the Bible. So he's got fucking electronic tools. He's got screws in the van already. He's got the board hung up. So he sees a drill. He's like, oh, fuck yeah. I got this covered. He looks over at the fucking Bible, fucking sees that. It's all leather bound. He can just tear that into strips. Meanwhile, Chikatilo's over in the corner. He's slapping his limp dick around like, why don't you work? Why don't you work? So he's just sitting there, and fucking Coral just like ripping straps of leather off of this fucking Bible, screwing it to the board in the van. He grabs this fucking kid, and he fucking takes his kid, and he's starting to strap him down. Chikatilo's over there slapping his head. You're like, huh? Oh, now Chikatilo just made this child bleed. Or, I'm sorry, Coral made this strap down child bleed. Fucking... Oh, wait, we're not even talking about Chikatilo. We're talking about Alexander Pushkin.
Yeah.
My bad. God damn, I went way off the balls.
You can go off. That's fine.
Well, he felt like he was Chikatilo, so he's like taking on that persona.
Yeah, but the chessboard killer did it different. He's walking around through the park and shit. I went way off the rails, dude. I just happened to look at the notes that said Chikatilo. I was like, oh yeah, my brain's stupid. But anyway, yeah, so the chessboard killer, he's like, fuck you, Chikatilo, I'm taking your numbers. There we go. see that? Fucking. So Pushkin's fucking in there in the fucking park, fucking beating dudes with fucking bottles. And dude, I just lost all my shit because I talked the wrong name. I had a whole thing going on. Fuck.
Joey, you want to save him here?
Hold on, I ain't done yet. No,
all
I
got this. All right.
Meanwhile, Coral's still in there ripping the fucking Bible apart, fucking strapping this kid to the fucking board in the van. Fucking Alexander, he fucking comes walking over. He's like, "Oh, that's fucked up. I want to be part of that. Could be part on my. That could be the next number on my chessboard. I can get so close to Chikatilo, who you already killed because he was trying to take your kids."
Right.
So I've got your back now. You got me. Meanwhile, Kerry King's over there. He's like waking up out of his fucking black tooth fucking shot all night long, the dime bag coma, fucking Jägermeister and fucking Crown Royal all night long, just done doing it. So he wakes up, he looks over, he sees these fucking serial killer pedophile motherfuckers just over there. He's like, fuck that. He gets up, he walks over, there's still that leather Bible right there. He just slings his fucking gauntlet into it, stabs right through it, and fucking he walks up, is like, fuck you, Satan, and slams it into their faces. Meanwhile, Fred Durst comes walking. He's like, oh, Kerry, you remember when we did Ozfest that one year? And Kerry's like, fuck yeah, play that shit, son. Next thing you know, it's like, give me something to break. And next thing you know, Fred Durst, Kerry King, they're both fucking killing both of them because they got something to break. That's what's up.
Okay.
Kerry King, Fred Durst coming out of the corner.
All right. Joey, what do you got on this? What's your take on the Killer Cage match?
In my scenario, as soon as the bell rings, that's the first thing you hear is, it's just one of those days. And dude,
when you don't want to wake up.
You know already that this cage match is going to be crunk as fuck when Limp Bizkit starts playing.
Right.
The problem is that Kerry King's in the fucking in the cage, and if Kerry King's got that gauntlet on, we're talking about Kerry King from the fucking 80s and shit.
Right.
And Kerry King from the 80s,
long hair and shit.
This is way before he played with bands like Limp Bizkit. There wasn't even a Limp Bizkit back then. And he was like He's like, "What is this fucking trash that you're playing?" And fucking Kerry King's all geeked up on speed because they've been doing West Coast turnaround all day long. And he's like, "This shit is fucking garbage." And he fucking uses his goddamn gauntlet arm thing to fucking get the fuck out of the cage and creates a hole with that. So upon doing that, fucking Dean Coral and fucking Alexander Pichushkin, they're like, "Man, we might not even have to fight to the death because now there's a hole from Kerry
Yeah, we
King
can get out.
hating Limp Bizkit so much that we can get out of here." And fucking Pichushkin's like, "Well, no, because hold up." He was like, "Fucking one of us has to die because we're both fucking sick bastards." And he was like, "You know what? You're right. Let's fucking do this. So I'm going to grab this drill and let me put it in your pee hole, Pichushkin, and just fucking hit the fucking trigger and watch your pee hole just fucking spin and your cock just fucking get twisted off." And fucking Pichushkin's like, "Hey, man, if that's what you got to do, Coral, go ahead and do that." And the Candyman, he's fucking loving it. Like, they could have left the cage match. Break stuff is playing so goddamn loud overhead.
Right.
And so fucking he's just letting fucking Dean Coral fucking mutilate his body. So after a while, fucking Pichushkin, he's a pussy anyway.
Looking
He's
like
fucking,
a cattle decapitation video.
yeah, he's fucking, yeah, basically like that. But he's basically done. He's fucking breathing his last breaths. And Kerry King comes back. Fucking, he just did a little bit more meth because that's the only reason he even left the cage, because he didn't bring no speed with him and he was pissed. So he brought some fucking, got some more speed, brought some bikers back with him, and he was like, "All right, now what I need to do is grab this Bible and I'm going to do this fucking badass spell and I'm going to hang out with these serial killers and I'm going to sell my soul to make Slayer a huge band whenever we write the most insane shit." And that is how Slayer became as big as they did.
Oh, wow. That's how it happened.
Cage match.
Wow, killer cage
Fucking
match,
right.
putting Slayer on the map. That's fucking pretty awesome. All right, excellent. So yeah, that's a big fan favorite here, listening to some killer cage match every week. We love doing that. If you're interested in buying one of my books, if you're into horror, thrillers, that kind of thing, PeteAltieri.com. I got free samples on there. Some short stories, a couple of pieces of the novels so you can read before you buy. Got a web store you can do secure purchases at my website, PeteAltieri.com. I'll link to that in the episode description. And we've mentioned this before, MurderMetalMayhem.com, a great way to listen to the show. Subscribe to the email list. Go to the online store, grab some stuff. And you could even join the 666 Club, saving 25% by doing it. So, MurderMetalMayhem.com. That YouTube channel, we talk about that. That's a great way to, keep up on the video end of what we're doing. We got band interviews. We've got all kinds of cool stuff on there. Some live music that we've had here. So really good shit. Joey, of course, christened
Get some more live shit.
we should. Joey christened the Gray Room when we first moved out here, and that video's on there. So, so that's you subscribe to the YouTube channel for sure. All right, well, we have done plenty of mayhem tonight, guys. So let's hit the outro. Some Cut Up from Sweden. That song Behead the Dead. I love that. Those guys are sick as hell. Definitely a good band. All right, and we want to say thank you.
They're already dead.
we want to say, they're already dead.
They should call them Rehead the Dead.
But I guess I get it. You got like zombies. You got to take the head.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
or give
true.
the dead head. I don't know. So thanks again.
God, dude.
Thanks again to Jeff at Killers the Card Game for coming on to
Yes,
talk to us
thank you.
tonight and
Yeah,
sponsoring
Jeff,
the episode.
Fucking love that shit, man.
Yeah, super cool. A lot of fun with him on talking about some Reginald Christie. So go on and check it out in the links if you want to buy one of those games. It's so amazing. And he's got all these cool expansion packs. It's really fun. So check it out. A role-playing game with serial killers. I mean, how do you go wrong there, right?
You
Joey.
can't get any better.
No, you're not. Joey, what about the bumper music tonight?
We had Cut Up, we had Cataclysm, and then fucking Stabbing.
Fuck yeah, we did.
Definitely. And Chris, that metal segment intro?
Always. Chrysix fucking getting it in, and they on FTA again this year.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Great metal motherfucker. And the Murder Metal Mayhem intro by Low 12. Crawl Space was the song. Thanks to everybody out there listening. Always nice to see the new cities showing up on the list. So thanks, everybody. And Chris, we got some comments we want to read. How about that first one?
That first one, I'm going to say it's pronounced Journa. Journa May 777 says, my aunt told me about you guys the other day. I've been listening to you nonstop. I really love how you mix horror or mix humor and with all the sick shit. I really like the one you did on the Texas Eyeball Killer. I'm a listener in Houston. So, yeah, you know about the Texas Eyeball Killer, and thanks for listening. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Journa May. Joey, what about that next one?
Next one says, Billings Be Gone 5 said, you fuckers rule. I crank you up every week in the warehouse I work at on second shift. I'm in Phoenix.
Cool, man. Rum and Cola commented, my friend played one of your podcasts on a road trip a few months ago. Love this podcast so much. Thank you for keeping it sick. Horns high in Dallas. So very cool.
Fuck yeah.
And then Chris, how about the
And
last
the last one we got Sucker Can't Dance 232. Says nice fucking name, I love it. Sucker Can't Dance at all. Says you guys did a good job talking about Pike County murders. I live in southern Ohio, not too far from there, where a bunch of rednecks were doing some horrible shit, and I hope those bastards burn in hell for what they did. So yeah, they need to fucking just, dude, you plotted that shit out. So yeah, thank you, sucker. We appreciate you.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think we got some new listeners from that episode. So that's super cool. Ohio, Joey over there in the 419. But this is a lot further south, of course, but still in the same state. You could pick up a copy of my latest book, Slab of Sickness, Terror on the Tracks. Go to PeteAltieri.com to do that. I got Creation of Chaos 4 almost done. Brian is going to be doing the artwork. I'm excited about that. It's going to be the whole Chapel of Bone story with that bone configurations all over the book cover. It's going to look really
all
sick.
Over the temple.
Yeah, it's going to be badass. Temple. And the bookmark will be bones too. So it's going to be really cool. Yeah. Check out murdermetalmayhem.com. That's our website. We have a real web store. You can buy our zombie shirts. The original shirts, what few we got left, our activity book, and even our die-cut stickers. Love those stickers. And we've got them on the website, too. So murdermetalmayhem.com. And Joey, how about your distro, man? What's the latest with that?
FTArecords.com. I just posted up, or not, just go to FTA Records with a Z on Facebook. But go check that shit out. I just put up a new merch list, and actually, I just got a fucking huge order I need to sit down and figure out from a dude over in fucking Australia he's an old school motherfucker. He's fucking probably into some really, really dark shit, and he's been a Goremonger supporter for a long time, but he actually fucking wants to get a bunch of the Murder Mayhem swag too, which I also have on my distro. So
awesome.
We're gonna get that all together. But I remember the last time I sent something from Murder Metal Mayhem over to Australia was to Rick from Gape, and it was that fucking activity book, and it fucking went like halfway around the fucking world.
So long. Yeah,
it took forever, but it showed up in perfect condition.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm hoping I don't have a repeat of that this time. But yeah,
right.
Check out my fucking website, all the Goremonger shit, fucking get Murder Metal Mayhem shit.
Awesome. And I linked to that in the episode description. So just scroll down and click away and check out Joey's stuff. You could like us on our Facebook group. Getting ready to start a Horns High Facebook page to try to circumvent their bullshit. So we'll keep you posted. Hopefully by the next episode for the 5-year, I'll try to have that up there on Facebook, and we'll let you know through the group so you can go on there and like us on there and then follow us that way. We just miss a lot of that interaction on Facebook, and being in a group, is nice because you got, one-on-one, but, not everybody contributes, and it's just, I kind of miss having it for the back and forth interaction with the listeners. So, all right. We've got a Twitter as well, and we got our YouTube channel. You could subscribe to be a member of the 666 Club. Go to the Patreon page. $3 a month for that.
Dude. That ain't bad.
No, and I'll link to that, of course, with everything else. We can't let him go without hearing a karaoke song. Here's a little blast from the past. So crank this shit up, and until next time, keep one foot in the gutter.
And keep the other fist clasped around a mask full of fucking carbon monoxide. And the other one with a big ass knitting needle on the twat.
So unsure as I take your hand and lead you to the dance floor. As the music dies, something in your eyes calls to mind a silver screen, and all it said goodbye. I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. Though it's easy to pretend, I know you're not a fool. I should've known better than to cheat a friend and waste a chance that I've been given. So I'm never gonna dance again the way I danced with you. Fuck yeah! Never mend the careless whispers of a good friend. To the heart and mind, ignorance is kind. There's no comfort in the truth. Pain is all you'll find. I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. Though it's easy to pretend, I know you're not a fool. I should've known better than to cheat a friend and waste the chance that I've been given. So I'm never gonna dance again the way I fucking dance with you. Motherfucker, never without your love. Seems so loud. I wish that we could lose this crowd. Maybe it's better this way. We hurt each other with the things we want to say. We could have been so good together. We could have lived this dance forever. But now who's gonna dance with me these days? I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. Though it's easy to pretend, I know you're not a fool. I should've known better than to cheat a friend and waste a chance that I've been given. So I'm never gonna dance again the way I fucking dance with you.
you're gone. What I did was so wrong.
Mother, man.